Hi everyone, this is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching with today's video, which is going to be a pre-part to number 255. And I had finished the quilt, so we were doing the one with the large log cabin, got it all quilted up, and it's finished. And I thought it's time to start looking again for something else I'd like to do, because this is sort of my hobby. And so I just grabbed 2 magazines. I learned a long time ago, don't get more than 2 magazines to look at, because by the time I get done, I have so many things I'd like to do that I can't pick the one I want to do. So I got my 2 magazines out, and I found this beautiful small table piece. I guess it's not a runner, it's just a decorative piece, and it's 20 by 37 inches. And what I liked about it was, look at those mint green strips. Then that just appeals to me, the geometry of it and the pattern of it. And I read the directions, and then I thought, now what could I do to make me get this right? Because that's a lot of strips. But the other thing that's so nice about it, in this called The Fields of Free Motion, and it's from the Love of Quilting, the September 2025 issue. And it's got these great sections, whether you make them white or some other color, of places that you can do some great hand stitching. You can do free motion quilting. And here there's just the feathers run all the way down on this one, and then there's something else on that one. And that just looked like fun. And then experimenting with this, I haven't read up totally on that because I was so concerned about that. I wasn't going to start it if I didn't think I had a chance of success. So what I wanted to do today was just go back and talk about one way I think I might do the strips. And I love, every once in a while I go back to my tape measure set, and it's called the bias one also. But in this particular case, our strips are straight. There's not going to be any curves. So I'm going to cut my strips with the salvage, and they are 1 inch wide. And so if you have 1 inch and you do 1/4 of an inch on one side and 1/4 on the other, that'll leave you 1/2 inch. And that helped me to know then that I was going to need the yellow one that I've got set up back there to take out of that kit and do it. And so I said, well, I'm just going to play with it. I was ready just to do something that gets done quick and is fun. So what I did is I went and got some scrap material, and I had some 1 inch strips. You know, you have a can of 2 inch squares, 3.5 inch squares, and different assortments and strips. Well, I have a 1 inch strip bucket that I like. And so I cut that. I made my strip, and I'm going to show you how to set your strip up. That's the iron. It's not my house. And when I got done and turned it over, look how neat it was. And you say, well, why that trouble? Well, till you really start, I always like to have a backup plan. If, say, my sewing machine wasn't going to do as nice a job making that be as even as it is all the way down there, then I wanted to have a backup plan. And I'm still thinking about starting and doing it this way, to add the pieces in between the white strips in that plan. So then I said I got one of the wider pieces of material and picked up the wider tool and did it. And it was really fun. When I got done, you turn it over and it's just laying as flat as it can be, and it's pressed. And that made me think of all the different kinds of things, or helped me start thinking about things like adding something to a tote or to a pocketbook, or on a quilt, or even on the border of a quilt. That's what I was thinking about. Because sometimes when you get into the 4 inch borders, 5 inch borders, you say, my gosh, that's so big. And it takes a lot to take and fill that in. So those are just some ideas. Now I'm going to move to the iron and show you the strip maker again, if you haven't done that in a while. I've got a shadow from the light today. It's sort of a cloudy day, and this is over by my iron. But here's one that I really like too, the contrast between the materials. And that was using that same 1/2 inch tool to do it, and then sewed it down through there. So I'm going to add it onto this strip, cut it off, cut this piece off, and then go ahead and add the one I'm going to make right now. I like to see things to the end. And so here's the tool, and it's got a little handle. And then this comes in very handy. You'll need it right at the beginning. And I've got it started. I made a little arrow end, and you have the wrong side up. And you start to slide it through there, and this is to take and go in there and slide it till you get where you can start. And when you get it where you're seeing that they are really looking pretty good about meeting at the middle, usually this is going to be cut off. And I started for a 1/2 inch. It suggested for regular material a 24 millimeter piece, and then that will give you your half strip. But on my pieces, I actually went ahead and put it so I don't have to look it up again next time I pick them up. And then there was another one that if you're using a lighter fabric, that's 28 millimeters. All right, so I've got it on there. I'm going to slide it back, and you got your iron ready. And I have a pin too, because sometimes I've done long strips, and I'll show you where that comes in handy. And it just takes a little bit of patience. And so as you start, you press it and hold it. You can hold it with your iron, and then start sliding it to the left, nice and even in there. And you just keep going. And then if it looks like it's getting off and it's not, because this is a nice small one, then this is easy to see that it's right on. But if you had it where it started to get sort of off, like on the wide one, well, then you just stop and you reset this end of it and keep going. And one other thing is, if you're going and you can put a pin there in the end so that as you pick up and you get ready to go, it's not going to move. And then I just take this, and it's steamy. You may like to dry press them, but I seam them, and so then I'll be ready to finish this one, putting them on, and then cut that apart and put this one on there, and it just gives me a nice sample to put in my folder to see again using the to make the tape maker. So I hope you'll look at it and come back next week to see 255, see how far I get.